Calmer scenes outside a New Jersey ICE facility last night following 2 weeks of chaotic and at times violent protests. Now, it comes after Newark police took control of the area outside of Delaney Hall, even as Newark's mayor makes sure to deny that local authorities are working with federal immigration enforcement.
When DHS claims that they are working with the city, and I dare to say the state, to protect Delaney Hall and support its operations, it is completely inaccurate. Our decisions, us being out in front of Delaney Hall, has nothing to do with Tom Homan. He indirectly, he is advocating for this, which we are opposed to. But directly, we came out here before Tom Homan even got this position.
Now, he and other New Jersey officials have vowed to shut down that facility as soon as possible. White House border czar Tom Homan is having none of it.
That facility is well run, and the governor keeps saying she's going to keep raising hell if that facility shuts down. Well, I got news for the governor. That facility isn't going anywhere. As a matter of fact, a lot of the people in that facility we couldn't release because they're mandatorily detained by federal statute. So we couldn't release them if we even wanted to.
Meanwhile, at least one of those protesters now faces federal charges for threatening an ICE agent and his family. That was 27-year-old Nicholas Matthew Scelfo, who faces up to 10 years in prison after his threats were caught on camera last week.
I'll kill your whole family! Your whole family's dead! Come on! Children, your wife, all dead! Put it, my boy! I have your face, mother! You're dead! Dead!
And Paul, you have some information on Mr. Scelfo.
Yeah, I mean, according to some of the online reporting, he grew up in Valley Stream, went to Valley Stream High School. Median income in household income in Valley Stream over $121,000. Graduated North Valley Stream High School, which Money Magazine, by the way, named Valley Stream to be the best place to live in New York. It's in Nassau County, one of the wealthiest counties in the country, excuse me, and also the safest, literally the safest. So all this stuff about, well, he's from Brooklyn and everything else. This guy grew up in East Cupcake. And now all of a sudden he's out there like he's some kind of violent activist and everything else. He's a joke. And he did ICE a favor, because now when anybody questions why they have to wear the masks, there you go. Just play that video, because here's a guy telling them, I'm essentially going to dox you. I'm going to come after your families. This explains all of it. And I got to tell you something else just to button it up. He's looking at 10 years at least here. They're going to go all the way on this thing. They may run into a bad federal judge, but they'll appeal it. He's going to wish he had the accommodations that the migrants have in the Delaney facility once he gets into federal prison.
Yeah, their lunch menu is pretty nice, and dinner and breakfast, because I read it, and it's more than a lot of Americans are eating.
Alexis McAdams pulled that out, and I tell you, I wish I ate that well, frankly.
She did. Caroline, meanwhile, you have the governor there, Mikey Sherrill, saying, I'm confident peaceful protest will be able to continue there, as it has for more than a year. So let's talk about the peaceful protests. We just spoke about one part, the violent threat. Then you have Todd Blanche posting these pictures. They are vivid, but look at these. It was a protester who bit an ICE agent, and you can literally see that deep bite mark. But that's peaceful.
Yeah, well, it's Democratic leadership that has directly incentivized that kind of ridiculous behavior, straight up violence. And I feel like we've seen this episode play time and time again. These blue jurisdictions, they go into this vicious cycle of blame gaming. Oh, it's the Fed's fault. And then the federal government's like, why haven't the local, authorities cooperated with us? This is what I think people need to fundamentally understand about immigration. Through the plenary power of the Constitution, it is the federal government's domain. This is something that they are expected to do, to enforce immigration law, to send out agents to apprehend, detain, and deport illegal aliens. And it is expected that localities will coordinate with them to make it easier so that these things don't devolve into violent spectacles where they have to surround rioters, where they have to do things in a kind of messy, ugly way. This could be quite civil and diplomatic if local law enforcement, I'm sure Paul has more to say on that, would simply work with them, but they don't. And as a result, Mickey Sherrill doesn't want to be responsible for having sowed this chaos, so she just directs the blame right back at the federal government and says, oh, don't worry, Our cops took care of it. Actually, no, you tied the hands of the police officers by saying that they could not, they were forbidden from cooperating with the federal government. She created this mess.
And Bill McGurn points that out in the Wall Street Journal, Harris, that you put the onus on ICE and not on the violent protesters.
Yeah, but that's their MO. We've seen that. I mean, soft on crime. They blame the victims and they adjudicate in ways that benefit the criminals like that. Yeah. This is just another chapter in that. Look, I said this last hour on The Focus. If you thought that detention center looked a little familiar, it's because we've been down this road before with Representative LaMonica MacGyver. Remember when she had her, it's like she was throwing elbows at the federal agents saying, oh, we got to get in and see the conditions. Well, I hold those Democrat congresspeople to count now. Like, let's hold them to account. If there are problems anywhere and they were willing to break in last year, why didn't they see after it that things had gotten better? Or maybe they never existed and all of this was a play. But it's not a new play. And she's facing 17 years in prison because of the indictment against her for putting her hands on those federal agents outside that same facility in Newark, New Jersey. They know they have a problem on the left. But what they're thinking, I guess, Kaylee, is those people on the screen there, the ones who are screaming that they're going to kill people, are going to vote. I'm thinking many of them are not even from the state of New Jersey. I don't think that they do vote in their states, but I don't know. Let's see if that works out. They'll have to take their masks off, though, to show us that they voted.
Yeah, is that the Democratic constituency, Ainsley? I mean, wow.
Well, I mean, just think this whole thing is so dumb. They're protesting detainees that are behind bars who broke the law to come to this country and then became criminals. Some of them are rapists, some of them are murderers, some of them molest children. And now you have these protesters who say we're peaceful, we see that they're not, out there instead of going to their jobs. Maybe this is their job. Maybe George Soros or some left-leaning organization is funding this. But then I'm also confused by Mikey Sherrill, who is the governor of that state. She was out there protesting and then told her police officers, you can't come in, you can't help ICE. So ICE gets involved, and then they're being injured, they're being bit. One was threatened of assault and murder, the guy you went through. Then she calls on the facility to be shut down. Then the state police does come in, and now Newark police is there, and there's a curfew. So what do these leaders really want? Do they... At first, she said you can't come and help ICE, and now they are there, which I'm glad they are there. They're the ones that had the state police with all that riot gear over the weekend. But I just think this is a ridiculous narrative. Wait till midterms. If this is still the narrative, where's the common sense? These guys are the worst criminals. I don't want them out on the street.
This is what they lost on in 2024.
Correct.
Wake up.
Yes.
And let me just make one point real quick, if I could. Recognize this is the same narrative every time. It's right out of their playbook. When we had Al-Qaeda in Gitmo, inhumane conditions during the summer of love, the arrestees all here in New York. Inhumane conditions. They always go to that because we can't check it. Your average citizen can't go in and look inside the cell, what's going on. This is the classic default that they have whenever you enforce. They can't argue with the law because the law is the law. So, oh, no, you're holding them in inhumane conditions every time. It's the same narrative.
That's what I've been challenging Democrats with. This didn't help you politically over the 4 years of Biden, so why are you doing it again?
They just keep choosing to lose.
They keep choosing to die on this hill. It's dumb.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
And they're worried about the hunger strike in there, that the rapist can't eat because he chooses not to eat because they're not serving him the food from his country. Well, then go back to your country. Why'd you come here?
Right. And they were woefully silent when there were young migrants in their facilities being run by Biden, eating bloody chicken, eating raw chicken. There were lawsuits, Caroline, that kept coming. But they ignored it. There were no protests for them. There were no protests for the young girls on suicide watch list, peeing in bags. That's what they were doing, peeing in bags. All of this in court documents and news reports.
Yeah, and the Obama administration let this facility run. Plenty of facilities ran, and there was never a peep out of these agitators. I find that funny, the convenient timing of this. But, you know, one thing's for sure, and I'm glad that Tom Homan is doubling down. If a single one of these facilities closes and they capitulate and acquiesce to their demands, the message to the cartels, to everyone trying to get here illegally, okay, cutting the line, is our border is optional. It's actually not a real thing. National sovereignty is fake. Come on in.
I think we're lucky if that's the message.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I think the worse and probably maybe even more realistic message is you can go there and do anything you want. They'll never, ever,
Right.
ever do anything to
And
you.
abuse their benefits.
Right. There are no consequences in the United States of America if you came here illegally and became a violent criminal. Also, you brought that baggage with you. You continue to kill here. Talk to the Angel families. I mean, spend some time with some of these people. I'm telling you, it could be much worse than what it already is. Thank goodness the president has closed the border.
You know what? Rename the facility the Laken Riley Detention Facility.
Yes.
Good idea.
Yes.
All right, well, the DHS has responded to the lawsuit that this is a frivolous lawsuit, they say, and ICE is committed to transparency, and Delaney Hall complies with all required state and local laws. Just last week, they say, on May 28th, 4 representatives of the New Jersey State Health Department arrived at approximately 11 a.m. They entered the facility and inspected the food service department. The inspection of the kitchen was completed, and they departed around 12:30 p.m. And we will continue to grant state and local inspectors access to the facility where appropriate, DHS says. And ICE is regularly audited and inspected by external agencies. All detainees are provided with proper meals, quality water, blankets, medical treatment, and have opportunities to communicate with their family members and lawyers. That is the DHS response.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.